Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all well. It's been a while since I made a video, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. I wanted to talk today about learning tarot, and I wanted to share three different things. The first thing that I learned by watching videos on YouTube, I came across a reader. Her name is Soraya Volcan. She's from Venezuela. And I'll never forget when she said, a tarot reader that does not practice is like a bird without wings. So thank you for that, Soraya. The second thing that she taught me is quantity, quality over quantity. And the only way to get the quality is to spend the quantity time. And it's the same, I realized, like when you're spending time with your children. Just because you're feeling great and you're ready for a story, they may not be. They may feel out of sorts, they may feel tired. But then after a period of time of doing this every day, engaging the emotions, you all fall into a spot where everybody wants the same story. We all want to watch the same movie. And the quality time surges, not because we decide, but because we have put in the quantity time, we've put in the hours. So when you're dealing with tarot, it's the same. It's the amount of time that you put in, even though sometimes you don't feel like it or you feel like you're not getting something out of it, you're still getting something out of it. And eventually this will blossom into something that you're going to say, I get the quality because of the quantity. And it's the same all around the board. I realized also it's the same for relationships. So today I wanted to talk, and then the last thing I wanted to tell you about what learning tarot. I mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. After doing courses, buying decks, courses online, practicing, I came to a point where I said, tarot, what is it that tell me how you want to be read? Tell me how to interpret you. And in particular, how to interpret two cards together. And the cards told me temperance. Now, temperance is a card where you have this angel pouring one cup into another. So she said, oh, tarot combinations. Oh, fine. Yeah, we'll talk about tarot combinations. So she showed me the card that was before and the card that was after. So I looked in the tarot and I found death card and I found the devil. And I felt between a rock and a hard place. It's not going to be easy. But once you learn, then, she said, I'm your guide, angel guide, and I'll help you. So went straight into it. So one of the things I learned to do with the cards is to ask questions. So one card that has been popping up recently a lot for me is the Four of Cups. I'm intrigued. So I study the card, I read about it, I look at it, I check the symbolism, I check everything. So after many years of reading the books, doing the courses and trying to memorize things by rote, we come and we realize that a card means something if it has an image on it. If the image says nothing about what the meaning of the card is, then that might not be an easy deck to read. Like, for example, where the pips are not shown, like you would say the Marsella. That is something that you have to learn. And you have to learn it through the images anyway. You still have to know what each line means, what each color means. So the meaning is in the card. So these are, this is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's very easy to read. It's the most popular deck of all time because it's the first deck that has been illustrated in the Minor Arcana. So here we see this gentleman. First of all, let's talk about the Suite of Cups. Suite of Cups has to do with emotions, has to do with feelings. It has to do with water, okay? And we see this man sitting under a tree. And his body language says that he's closed. He's closed off, right? He's sitting down means he's passive. His heart, nothing comes in, nothing goes out. And the same, his legs are crossed, so he's not up to any kind of interaction with anybody. Then we have him looking at the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups in the tarot is showing you happy times, interaction, where we're having a good time with others. And he's realizing that that doesn't fill him up anymore. He's looking at that and said, that's not what I want. And then there's the Ace of Cups that he apparently doesn't see or he's ignoring. He's not ready for anything new, right? He's just realizing that he's at a point of stagnation. So he's rejecting all offers at this time. And so the earth means maybe he needs to be grounded, you know, and the tree will give him support and stability. So the earth is a good place to be at this time. So you could say that he's physically and emotionally guarded. He's like at a standoff. And this person definitely wants to be alone. The fact that it's a 4 means that it's stable. So he's seeking stability. If he doesn't have it, he's seeking emotional stability. And the first place to get that is being on your own, right? So he's also could be feeling stuck. This I also checked and I found something very funny. This is like the day of the hangover, when you do not feel like having any more drinks and you remember in the party last night. So it's like putting up a do not disturb sign on your door. And then if you go over to the astrology, you'll see this the moon in Cancer. The moon in Cancer has to do with the 4th house. The 4th house talks about our roots, our foundations, our family, right? So it means I just want to go home and I don't want to go anywhere, right? But you could look and see what's going on in your 4th house or what's going on in Cancer if you have planets there, and you can go deeper. So there's all kinds of symbolism, right, in this card. So have the do not disturb. And there's so many other different things we can say that he's bored and everything. But before we go into what the books say or anything, let us not ask, why don't we just ask the cards what it is that's happening with this person? But like I said, instead of practicing with 78 cards, because any card could come out, that's not the way to practice. Neither is that the way to practice astrology. Just take one card and say, what is behind? Because life shifts and changes every day. Tomorrow it will be a different reason. It will be a different client. It will be a different situation. So I asked, what's behind this card for today, for now? And I got the 7 of Swords. So when you were asking a question of the tarot about oneself or about a situation in particular that has to do with someone, what are they feeling on the inside? We are not going to interpret this card as someone who is doing that to the client. It's the client doing it to himself, right? So we're going to talk about here is the mind. It's a card of being stealth, you know, moving stealthily, quietly. It's a card that's looking back. So there's kind of some feeling unsure about whether to advance or not. It's also a card of strategy. It's a mental strategy that's behind the reason of this card. So we know that these two suits don't really go together. So there's a lot of thinking or overthinking. Because it's number 7 and this is number 4. So what could he be thinking about, I think? I ask and they say, oh, the 3 of Swords. Well, that's a story for another day. But still, this card is important. So we see that there is something inside of this 4 of Cups that's locked away. There might be something hidden. It could be a truth, because swords have to do with truth, also have to do with lies. But in this card, we cannot lie to ourselves, can we? Right? So one of the reasons why we have this strategy is because we do not want to show who we really are, right? It's unsafe to share our emotions. If we are 100% completely honest and vulnerable, we risk getting hurt, all right? We also will lose our dignity and our freedom in this relationship, or whatever you call it. Yeah. So there is a fear of being totally transparent. So there's something behind that. Now, if we ask a different card, we get a different thing. But I found this so interesting. And then I realized this is like a mental looping going back and forth, because it's going back and forth. And it's because the energy is stagnant and the energy is emotional, but there's a lot of mind in here. So these could be things you tell yourself, mind games, self-deception, self-delusion, all kinds of things. And you're just stuck in this mental loop, which affects you emotionally. So what can we do about the situation? You just go back to the beginning, you go to the Ace of Swords, and you tell yourself the truth. You do not lie to yourself, right? And you tell yourself the truth, and the truth will set you free because you realize it is your mind. You are creating a projection. House seven. House seven are just projections. Projections are also the great expectations we seek in others. And when they are not fulfilled, we get upset and we don't realize that it's just us, you know? So expect nothing and you'll never get disappointed. And that's it. That's a way of studying the tarot. Ask the cards. Ask the cards. So when this card appears in a reading, you give it the base, and then you can take another card to see what's behind that, all those things that we just said about the Four of Cups. All right. Another one coming soon.